What's up, guys? Back here in Mississippi today. Not today, I'll be here next 5-6 months. So, wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about cadence. I think there's still a lot of confusion. You know, what's the best or what's the optimal cadence? There's a lot in triathlon field as well. People talking about optimal cadence for a triathlete, say it's lower, so on and so forth. By the way, what I'm getting at is there's a lot of confusion in the field. And when I say in the field, I really mean like within cyclists, because scientific evidence is actually pretty clear, and there's a lot of it. So I want to really break this down into three portions. Those three. One, can we say the optimal cycling cadence is 90 RPMs because the best cyclists in the world cycle that? Two, can we break this down into a training mechanism? As if I train at this cadence, 85, 95, 120, whatever it is, will that training at that cadence make me a better cyclist? And then three, is there science to suggest that cycling drills, cadence drills, will make my cycling, my pedal stroke smoother? So, one, what's the optimal cadence for any cyclist, right? Two, is there an optimal cadence to train at, or training at different cadences? Is there some science behind that? And three, what does the science look like when it comes down to cycling cadence, training for your pedaling stroke? So one, the science suggests there's not. And as mentioned, the science behind that is pretty clear and old. We have science research all the way back to 80s and 90s looking at cycling cadence. Now remember, this is like Lance Armstrong era or prior, right? When we used to say spin to win, that's what Lance does, or now what Chris Froome does, or what he did, or we'll see what happens this year. There is no optimal cadence for a cyclist. There are elite level cyclists that do both. The people that grind, Pantani, and the people that spin, Chris Froome, Lance Armstrong, right? And if you want another grinder, Alberto Contador, right? So what does the science say? There's no optimal cadence. There really isn't. Number two, as some of you guys may know, I'm an exercise physiologist by training, currently completing a doctoral program. I'm also a certified exercise physiologist through the American College of Sports Medicine. My job is to look at science, decipher that science, and a lot of the times portray that science to my students, kind of like I'm doing here with you maybe. In that regard, last year, I went to 2 conferences. When I say went, as we're in a global pandemic, they were all virtual. One of them in relation to aging, gerontology, and the other one just basic physiology. In both of those conferences, there were multiple presentations, poster presentations, that talked about cycling cadence and the optimal cadence, training at certain cadences. So obviously, there's a lot of interest in this field. And all of this research was mixed research, not suggesting anything new when it came to cadence. Training at a certain cadence is better than the other. No, there is very little evidence to suggest that there is a certain cadence to train at, or that training at X cadence will make you better, provide more power, etc. So, same as number one, the evidence is not clear. And really, you can find evidence for either side, high cadence versus low cadence training. Number 3, becoming more efficient at pedaling by training through different cadences. The science on this is actually pretty new. The science suggests that we can become more efficient by training at different cadences. By steadily increasing our cadence, maybe say on a turbo trainer, a static bike indoor trainer, and trying to maintain the same power over different cadences, we may become more efficient in the pedaling stroke. Meaning that we're laying down maybe equal power throughout the entire stroke, if you will. So, if you are more efficient at putting out steady power throughout your pedaling stroke, the science, and recent science I should say, suggests that it doesn't matter how efficient you are in that pedaling stroke. That smashing down on the pedals and not pulling up on the pedals may not be as significant as we once thought it was. Of the 3, I would lean a little bit more towards maybe efficiency training of cadence might benefit us a little bit more, but even that could be questionable. I've noticed a ton of training programs, both on Training Peaks, on Swift, Trainer Road, and then just big media in the cycling realm, pushing this cadence thought process when the science just is not there. So I often tell people that cadence training, it's not really beneficial, at least from what the science tells me. Your cadence that you normally cycle at is your optimal cadence. It's very individualized. 78 may be your cadence, whereas my cadence may be 98. So you have to find your optimal cadence. What cadence feels comfortable to you? Because you're probably better off just going out for a long endurance ride, enjoying your cycling, going with a friend, and not trying to focus on how high or low your cadence is in a certain power zone. Enjoy cycling that you are doing without looking at your cadence, and eventually you'll figure out what your optimal cadence is. So, when it comes to cadence training, remember to find your optimal cadence by going out there, enjoying cycling, and not looking at your head unit the whole time, wondering if you're in the proper cadence. Training zones, power-wise, great. Cadence, not so much. Science just isn't there, guys.